Great time. And hopefully next
And maybe even some older owners is, but I'm back.
SQUEAKS.
just to show up.
Squeaks the cat.
It's to show up.
Squeaks the cat. People. Hey there, fools. What's up? Mizzah Tee here, back with another one. Recently, I've been thinking about, like, what would it have been like if we had, when I was younger, we had to deal with some of the stuff that gamers today have to deal with, like as far as the social media goes, and what kind of gamer would I be? What kind of Nintendo fan I would be if I had to deal with some of that stuff. So, and this one, I'm just kind of exploring, like, what would it have been like if YouTube was around during, say, starting with the N64. If it was around during that era, would I feel the same way about things? Because you're sharing stuff on YouTube, you're sharing your ideas and stuff and how you feel, and you may not feel that way sometimes. It may just be a spur of the moment thing. A lot of guys they react to stuff before they have a chance to sit and think about it. So I like to sit and think and try to figure out what I would be like and what I would have done. And so there's a lot of nonsense from Nintendo fans these days, and I'm wondering, will we have had that nonsense if people could talk to each other in the manner they can today, like because of the onslaught of the internet and social media and stuff. So I'm just thinking, like, if YouTube was around when, say, the N64 launched, like, what would it have been like? Because I believe N64 launched with 3 titles in the US. I could be wrong about that. I can't remember exactly, but it was definitely less than 5. And I wonder, like, if some of these dudes who came to YouTube recently, and I mean during the Wii U, just before Wii U, and if these guys would be, if they would have came to YouTube as a Nintendo fan. Because let's face it, like the Wii, a lot of guys pretend that they like the Wii or they're a Nintendo fan, but a lot of these guys didn't like the Wii. And the only reason they jumped on the Wii bandwagon or the Nintendo bandwagon was because the Wii was selling like hotcakes. And so because it was so popular and it sold very well, they couldn't help but, represent it. They had to, as Nintendo fans. So coming off the Wii's success and going into the Wii U, they're like, okay, the Wii U is going to be the console that I can actually really root for. Like, I can really care for, because one, it'll have HD graphics, and Nintendo says they want, to bring back the hardcore. And so there's that, and EA's boosting about it. They're talking about their unprecedented support, and, so this is going to be finally the console that I can root for. I don't have to pretend like I did with the Wii that I liked certain things as a Nintendo fan. I can actually really root for this console because it has HD graphics and it's going to have third-party support. And so a lot of these guys, they came into YouTube and they were boosting and boasting about Nintendo, and I'm a Nintendo fan, and they put up all these videos. They were dissing third parties. They were dissing the other companies, Sony and Microsoft. Something I never did, by the way. I might have said 1 or 2 things in a video, but I never made a video about dissing Sony or Microsoft. I play on both of those systems, so it didn't make sense to me to do that. I was always just, if you want to call me a Nintendo cheerleader, that's fine. I was always, putting my Nintendo foot forward because that's the one that makes me the most passionate about gaming and being a gamer. Yeah, like I said, a lot of these guys, they came in boosting and boasting. They saw that a lot of Nintendo fan channels were popping up. Everybody's getting excited for the Wii U. The Wii U is going to be that powerful console. It's going to be more powerful than anything on the market right now. So we can boast and brag about it, and we can feel good. And when it didn't turn out to be that, you saw these dudes start to slowly slide away. They started changing their names and all this nonsense. Like, I gotta slip away. It's not the console that I wanted it to be. It's not gonna be that console, so I gotta slip and slide away. And they turned into the people that they were defending against. They turned into the people that they were fighting with when they first got here. They slowly started to turn into those people. I don't mean they completely became those people, but they started using the same type of rhetoric that these people were using, called, oh, you guys are the you guys are apologists and you guys are, crazy about Nintendo. Nintendo can do no wrong. You guys defend everything. They started sounding just like the guys that they were, going at when they first came in. It started sounding just like those dudes. And I was just like, wow. And they didn't see it themselves, or they didn't want to see it themselves, that they were just like that they were like that. And so I just thought it was really strange. And they just, with every video, the salt grew, the salt mountains got higher and higher with every video. And they didn't like the fact that, their fan bases that they built up on Nintendo started to quote unquote turn against them. Because, when you click onto a channel, there's a reason you click onto it and you subscribe to it, because you you expect a certain kind of content. You liked what you saw, and when you get that, you want to keep getting more of it. So you subscribe so you don't miss their videos. So when that guy changes their stance on something, and you haven't changed your stance, you still feel the same way, you might start challenging them on stuff like, oh, wait a minute, you were a bigger cheerleader than me at one point. Like, why are you now trying to say, oh, no, you guys are the crazy ones, when you were making arguments about this and this and that to these guys? And now that things didn't turn out the way you wanted to, now that you quote unquote can't defend this anymore, you exposed yourself. Now I'm the bad guy. Like, the guy who subscribed to you was supporting you. I'm the bad guy now because you can't deal with the fact that I have a backbone. Like, I'm not gonna. I have a fandom, and it's not gonna. My backbone isn't gonna get weaker because certain things aren't going exactly my way. I'm a fan of sports teams, and we don't win the pennant every year. We don't win the Super Bowl every year. And I have disappointments about those sports teams. But at the end of the day, I'm still a fan, and I will still go to the games. I will still go pay my ticket or whatever. And I'm a different type of dude. Like, even when my team is down, like I'm still with my team. Like, that's just, I guess you could say I'm loyal like that. But if I come at you like I'm a loyal dude and I'm blasting everybody else, you can expect me to stay the same. That's not what I'm saying what I do. But that's what a lot of these guys were doing. They were blasting everybody else. Oh no, it's third party's fault. They rigged it for Nintendo and to be, all the videos. All you got to do is go through the catalogs and you can see them exposing themselves video after video. All you have to do is go to my old videos and see, the comments, the cheerleading comments they leave on my videos, old videos, when they were still quote unquote defending. But now that they changed and you didn't, like, now you're what's holding them down. You're the bad guy. Like, you came in frauding to begin with. Like, you know what I'm saying? You didn't like the Wii, but you pretended that you did because it was popular. And because the Wii U isn't popular, you don't have to pretend anymore. You're just being who you always were to begin with. And I just wonder, and like, let me take this back to the original premise, is that when the N64 came out, because, a lot of people, a lot of Nintendo fans, even non-Nintendo fans will say they N64, even GameCube was was a great console, was a really good console. And I'm like, well, GameCube sold 22 million, N64 sold 33, somewhere around there, while the PlayStation 1 sold like, 100 million. And I would just wonder if these dudes would have felt the same way had they had access to YouTube, and would their videos have been the same when they were dealing, like I was dealing with the N64, kind of envious of the other console. I mean, I had the other console, but I would have liked to have played those games on my Nintendo console because that's where I spend most of the time. But like, I wonder if those guys, if they had the N64 and they were waiting months and months for games, if the Zelda delay on the N64 with Ocarina of Time, and they had to, you were expecting Final Fantasy to come, and Final Fantasy all of a sudden was exclusive to the PlayStation 1. I wonder what these dudes would have been saying on YouTube at that time. Like, if YouTube was around, like, would they have been the same as they were, say, in the beginning of the Wii U's life? If they would have came with that fraudulent, BS, and then it would have been themselves from the beginning. Basically, the question I'm asking in this video, because a lot of these dudes, and I wouldn't care as much if these guys didn't flip and try to say, oh no, you guys aren't Nintendo fans, you're Wii U fans. The stuff that they're starting to come up with now to defend their position. Like, oh no, you're not a Nintendo fan, you're just a Wii U fan. Like, I was a Wii fan, I was a GameCube fan, I was a N64 fan, I was a Super Nintendo fan, I was an NES fan. I'm a fan of Nintendo products and consoles and their games. And Wii U has great games, so I'm a fan of that console. But because they painted that console as a failure, it's a commercial failure, no doubt about that. But it has the best exclusives this gen, hands down. The Sega Saturn was a commercial failure, and it has great games on it. And I'm not getting rid of it anytime soon. They don't make any more games for it, but you know what? I'm still keeping it because it has great games on it still. And that's not going to change regardless of what's going to happen. And that system, and when it came out, Sega was just like, screw you guys, we're out of here. 2 years later, at least Nintendo held on to the Wii U for 4 years. It will be 4 years this holiday, I believe. So at least they held on, and they still gave games. They didn't just cut and run the way Sega did. Twice Sega did that. They did it with the Dreamcast as well. They were like, all right, I mean, financially they had no choice. But, Dreamcast came out. Dreamcast had great games. It was a commercial flop. But that didn't change the fact that there were great games on it. And those games to me are valuable, and I want to keep those games. And I'm still gonna say that the console itself was a great console because of the great games that it had. Nothing would change that. If you look fondly back at the Dreamcast, and if you still own one, especially, how can you just be like Wii U, whatever? I'm done. No, I mean that doesn't make any sense. It's just the fact that back in those days we didn't have YouTube. And these dudes didn't have to pretend for their fan bases or whatever they're doing it for. They had to pretend that they liked something, and to the point where they just couldn't do it anymore. They just exposed themselves to the point where they couldn't pretend anymore. No more Pretendo 64. So like, I just don't know how you get rid of, I just don't know how you just wash your hands of something that at one point had value to you, had great value. I don't get it. Like, help me understand. Seriously, help me understand that. Like, I can understand. I'm upset with the fact that Wii U for the better part of this year isn't gonna have any major games coming out for it. I said that in my initial video after we all found out. I had the coronas again. Like, I said that. But the Wii U that I own still has value. There are great games on it that a lot of people are still playing, including myself. There's stuff that I need to finish that I don't have, or that I haven't finished yet. So the console still has value to me. And trust me, it's not the fact that, the Nintendo basically just said, we're done with the Wii U. The Wii U is done, which they did. They basically just said that. And it's not the fact that they did that. That these guys that's it, I'm done. These guys were done a year and a half ago, and it was pretty obvious with the sudden turn. It was like watching episode 3. It was like watching episode 3 of Star Wars, where all of a sudden Anakin was a good guy and he just kind of flipped, and that happened to a lot of these guys. So this is just with this recent stuff, with Nintendo, basically saying, the Wii U is pretty much done, guys. Sorry, we tried the best we could, with what resources we had, because we were out here on our own, basically supporting this console and trying to make it, sell. A lot of these guys are using that as the thing, but no, they were gone long before this, and this is just something they can gravitate to. See, we were right all along. We were right all along. Like I said again, it feels safe. Now you can say, hey, this is why, blah blah blah. Even though the console hasn't been supported by third parties since like launch window. It was a couple of games, a couple of the big titles would come out during the fall or whatever, but for the most part, for the rest of the year, you got to trickle out of games, and so that hasn't changed. They'll try to use that, and they have used it, and then they'll be again frauding, because Wii U has been what the Wii U has been its whole life. Now Nintendo is just saying, we're done. We tried, but now we're done. So there's nothing different about the Wii U from the beginning to the end. Other than, like I said, the launch, they had a lot of titles, but the third parties were just putting out what they had, and they were done after that. So Yeah, I mean, like they'll use that. They'll use this, what's going on now, and they'll use voice chat over here and this and that over there to try to build this narrative of, see, these are the things that were making us change. But the fact is, they were who they were from the beginning, and now they had ammunition to start backing away. That's all that is. So don't be fooled. Don't let them trick you into thinking, oh no, it was these things that were happening that that made me change. That made me change. These are things that were happening that made me change and see the light. Give me a break. You were who you were from the beginning. It was all about popularity and what was going on in the communities at the time. And now you can't handle it. Like, you can have disappointments. You're supposed to have disappointments. But I'm saying be wary of the guys who try to make something that's not all that egregious into something that's egregious, so they can start that back away process again that I was talking about. Just be wary of that. You know, like I said, it's going to happen again with the NX most likely. You know, this whole process is starting again with the NX. And that's one of the reasons I'm wary of like NX hype videos or rumor videos, because I don't believe you. I just don't believe you. Again, it's the console that's coming out. You're going to see these Nintendo fan channels pop up probably, and you're going to see this process happen all over again. They're talking about the power. It's going to be powerful, more powerful than this and more powerful than that. They're already doing the same thing again. NX is probably not going to be everything these guys want it to be. And you're going to hear the stuff again. You're going to see it again. You're going to see the Salt Mountains return. And if the NX miraculously turns out to be what they expect it to be, what they're hyping it up to be, you'll see. You'll see these defectors return. And because they have like I said, they have no backbone. They'll slither right back into, the community. And you know what? We're going to accept them because we're Nintendo fans. We're Nintendo fans, and we're just, we're cool like that. We'll accept you. Even if you've, wronged us. We'll accept you, and you can return to the fold. But that's exactly what will happen. The defectors will return if the NX is what they're hyping it up to be, what it, and all that good stuff. So they'll be able to brag and boast about how powerful it is, how, it has all the third-party support. It has all the features of online diddly doos and woodly wahs. It has all the doodads and skiddly whoops. And they'll be able to feel confident in their purchase. And they'll hold on to their NXs at night and hug them and squeeze them. And it'll be the best thing ever. It'll be the second coming of Jesus Super Nintendo. And everything will be right in the world. You just watch and see. Watch and see what I tell you. It's going to happen. If YouTube was a thing in during the N64 era, a lot of these dudes who claim to be Nintendo fans would not be Nintendo fans today, because they would have had it a long time ago. But, what do you think? Like, what do you think would have happened if YouTube had been around during the GameCube era, the N64 era? Would these guys have came in as Nintendo fan channels and jumped on the bandwagon of the promise of the Wii U, the HD graphics and the third parties back? And, these dudes were very excited, boosting up everything. And when it started to fall apart, they held on, and they were blaming everybody else. They weren't blaming Nintendo. And then they started to blame Nintendo when they felt like they couldn't do it anymore. They just could not continue. They could not Pretendo anymore. They couldn't continue to pretend that they liked these consoles anymore. So let me know what you think in the comments below. That's I guess it was a rant, but it was kind of a thought that I was having. So that kind of came out as a rant. Let me know what you think in the comments below. It's your boy T-Fools, and I'll see you next time. Peace. Oh yeah, one more thing. Play Nintendo, fools. Thank you all for watching.